Yeah, Shalom Israel. Before I start, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barakah Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel who will and teach well. Akim the Iwas and byways and all pushing videos in truth sincerity. To the brothers and sisters in the truth. Something I wanted to look at quickly was smart cities, brain computer interface, and RFID. And these are all things which Esau would try to bring into place to establish his New World Order, his NWO. And what Esau is actually trying to do is achieve the blessing that we achieved, but he's doing it his own way. And we know there's only one way you can receive blessings. All good and bad comes from the Most High. I believe that's 2 Samuel 3:7. But Genesis 27. When you look at the blessing that we received, Genesis 27:27, and he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment and blessed him and said, "See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field, which the Lord has blessed. Therefore give thee the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee." So our blessing is to have total control over these other nations. And that is what Esau is trying to achieve with his MOTB. And for that to come into place, there's things that has to be laid. There's a foundation that has to be laid. Nothing's going to happen overnight. Esau has put in his work, his diligent search to get these things into play. And if we look about us, we can see that he's putting his plans into practice. This is Psalm 63:5. Says, "They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of lame snares privily." Because when you look at some of the things that Esau does and the way they're promoted as good, but the underlying cause behind them is to really enslave you. It says, "They say, who shall see them? As they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the art is deep." So, like I said, with the smart cities, China at the moment, has a good foundation in the smart cities, but it's something that will be rolled out in time to the world. Now, this is says the future of smart cities. Now, this is going back to last year, November. So about a year ago, coming up. It says the herald rise of smart cities was expected to bring data-centric solutions to urban challenges, whilst Asia remains ahead of the curve. Legacy cities, particularly in the West, are now feeling the pressure to upgrade aged infrastructure. The COVID-19 pandemic mounting sustainability commitments, resource constraints, and continued urban growth are making a new case for investment. So you can see why some of the things that we're going through now have come into play, because these are part of laying that foundation for what's to come. It says it has never been more crucial to make cities smarter, more efficient, and sustainable for their residents. Yeah, so like I said, the way Esau would put things to you is like, yeah, this is for your good. All whilst at the same time it's a trap. Is laying. Says smart cities have the potential to generate 20 trillion in economic benefits by 2026. Companies are being incentivized to fund smart city projects through green stimulus packages and strategies that help reduce their financial risk, by also providing potential for ancillary income. Analysis argue that prioritizing changes to urban infrastructure is central to smart city development, ensuring the foundations are in place before additional solutions and services can arise. They expect 4 key investment areas to rise to the top. So, like I said, all these things are the foundations for future plans being laid. So, smart cities for infrastructure investment opportunities, enabling technologies, building, and infrastructure. And if you look at during this pandemic, a lot of something that's not actually stopped, but to me it seems like it's increased, is buildings. You know, the road works and all of these things there. These seem to have increased, not decreased. Energy, water, and waste management. Says the accelerated development of new technologies, including 5G, AI, cloud, and edge computing, is helping to drive the evolution of smart cities. We are in the early stages of an edge computing revolution, and it is critical to support the exponential increase in the number of connected devices and vast growth in data collected. Approximately 20 billion of opportunities across hardware, software, and services could be deployed at the edge by 2023, with a significant upside to those numbers in the long term. Says investment in reliable technology and high-speed connectivity is central to smart city build-out. So this is why they've been rolling out so much 5Gs, because it makes it easier to do some of the things that they're trying to do. It says the expedited, I think that's right. It's like a shift to work from home in 2020 is driving the need for reliable and secure high-speed connectivity, and that's one of the things that they were pushing through the pandemic. You know, like us working from home. And if I'm not mistaken, it's something I read one time where a number of people who were working from home when the lockdown kind of eased, you know, they preferred to work from home. They kind of got used to the idea of working from home, because normally when you get your job, you go to a particular place and you do your work from there. But during the lockdown, it showed that some of these things could actually be done from home, and people have kind of gotten used to the idea. It says, as vital infrastructures become connected, cities must be aware of vulnerabilities to adversaries. Telecom and technology companies must increasingly collaborate with government and invest in reliable networks, cybersecurity, and backup systems. Now, as I say, one of the places that's quite big on this smart city technology is China. This video here, also 2 years back, Chinese tech makes cities smart, but critics say it spreads authoritarianism. So, but what I want to show is how this smart city thing can work.
We're now walking on the floor that touches everything in your city. Huawei Chief Digital Information Officer Edwin Diener shows off what Huawei calls a smart city. Closed-circuit cameras feed into a database with advanced artificial intelligence.
And if you look at over here in the UK, like we've got a bag of cameras. What they've also done is blocked off a lot of side roads, so now everybody's sort of funnel onto the main road. Yeah, this is all, it's not by coincidence anyway. Let's put it that way.
And facial recognition can identify everyone, cross-reference license plates, and analyze unlimited information. Diener calls it the future of policing.
Where, for example, today, teams manually need to have to look through CCTV camera footage. With a good video cloud analytics platform, you can say, I'm looking for a white guy, blue jeans, red t-shirt, and give an order or a query, almost like a Google search. I can say, find me this black car with this particular license plate, of which I think it is an L or a 7, a W or an N, but I'm not sure. Then the system can look into different camera points, for example, and does it for you.
Huawei promotional.
Yeah, so that's just a little clip I want to play on the smart cities so you get an idea of how it works. And another thing there looking to put into place is what's known as a brain-computer interface. And like I said, the idea behind it is always pushed as something good, but how it's used in the long term is never really in your benefit. This is brain-computer interfaces are making big progress this year, and this is August 14, 2021. Yeah, it says 8 months in 2021 has already become a record year in brain-computer interface funding tripling the 97 million raised in 2019. BCIs translate human brainwaves into machine understandable commands, allowing people to operate a computer, for example, with their mind. Just during the last couple of weeks, Elon Musk's BCI computer Neuralink announced a 205 million in Series C funding, with Paratronics and BCI firm announcing a 20 million seed round a few days later. It says almost at the same time, Neuralink competitor Synchron announced it has received a groundbreaking go-ahead from the FDA to run clinical trials for its flagship product, the Stentrode, with human patients. Even before this approval, Synchron's Stentrode was already undergoing clinical trials in Australia, with 4 patients having received the implant. I just want to quickly play some of these videos here to give you an idea of what this brain-computer interface does. This is something I want to pick out on the second video.
We're building something we think is going to be transformative. Technology capable of streaming direct thought for people who, through injury or disease, have lost the capacity to move or speak.
Now, like I said, on the face of it, it sounds good. And, if you've, like this guy seems to be paralyzed on one side, if you can use something to get that side moving, it's a good look.
Brain-computer interfaces are a technology that record from a particular area of the brain called the motor cortex.
Disease that will eventually cause me to lose my voice and the use of my limbs. But I've been back on a trial using a Stentrode device.
The promise and the hope of this technology is to regain independence for people who have lost their physical independence. What we're doing differently is using the blood vessels as the natural highway into the brain and lacing the inside of the blood vessels with electrodes or sensors that can record activity from the brain. Those signals travel through a lead that exits out the body through telemetry unit that goes into a computer, and those signals can be interpreted by the computer into different types of actions or commands.
When the system's connected, we'll be able to see the neural signal flowing through, and we'll spend some time studying those signals while the participant performs specific movements or the participant thinks about performing.
Yeah, so that's kind of showing how, this thing can work. Now, this one is with a monkey. There's something it says in this which I want to pick up on.
This is Pager. He's a 9-year-old macaque who had a Neuralink placed in each side of his brain about 6 weeks ago. If you look carefully, you can see that the fur on his head hasn't quite fully grown back yet. He's learned to interact with a computer for a tasty banana smoothie delivered through a straw. We can interact with the Neuralinks simply by pairing them to an iPhone, just as you might pair your phone to a Bluetooth speaker. The links record from more than 2,000 electrodes implanted in the regions of Pager's motor cortex that coordinate hand and arm movements. Neurons in this region modulate their activity with intended hand movement. For example, some might become more active when he moves his hand up, and others when he moves it to the right. By recording from many neurons and feeding their activity into a decoder algorithm, we are able to predict Page's intended hand movements in real time. First, we calibrate the decoder by recording neural activity as Pager uses the joystick to move a cursor to targets presented on the screen. As he's playing this game, we are wirelessly streaming in real time firing rates from thousands of neurons to a computer. Using these data, we calibrate the decoder by mathematically modeling the relationship between patterns of neural activity and the different joystick movements they produce. After only a few minutes of calibration, we can use the output from the decoder to move the cursor instead of the joystick. Pager still moves the joystick out of habit, but as you can see, it's unplugged. He's controlling the cursor entirely with decoded neural activity.
Yeah, so as you can see now, what they're able to do is read the signals and sort of program it so that it's not actually using the joystick now, it's doing it all from the mind. And if they can grab these signals, you know, and program it, then you know what else is able to be programmed. Like I said, all of these things are going into the foundations that's been laid to set up their NWO. Now, the other one I want to touch, which a lot of us should be aware of by now, this article here, Technology Innovation, April the 5th, 2021, it says, Technology under your skin, 3 challenges of microchip implants. It says, as technology continues to get closer to merge with our bodies, from the smartphones in our hands to the smartwatches on our wrist to earbuds, now it's getting under our skin literally with a tiny microchip. A human microchip implant is typically an identifying integrated circuit device, or RFID, transponder encased in silicate glass and implanted in the body of a human being. This type of subdermal implant usually contains a unique ID number that can be linked to information contained in an external database, such as personal identification, law enforcement, medical history, medications, allergies, and contact information. It says in Sweden, thousands have had microchips inserted into their hands, and you know there's many videos you can find on YouTube where the Swedes have done this. So the chips are designed to speed up users' daily routines, make it sound like it's something good, and make their lives more convenient. See, accessing their homes, offices, and gyms is as easy as swiping their hands against digital readers. Chips also can be used to store emergency contact details, social media profiles, or e-tickets for events and road journeys. But imagine all of this now. Also, because it says it can store things such as personal identification. There was something I saw earlier. Hold on, give me a second on this. Oh, yes. It says advocates of the tiny chip say they're safe and largely protected from hacking, but scientists are raising privacy concerns around the kind of personal health data that might be stored on the devices. Around the size of a grain of rice, the chips typically are inserted into the skin just above each user's thumb, using a syringe similar to that used for giving vaccines. Implanting chips in humans has privacy and security implications that go well beyond cameras in public places. Facial recognition, which is part of the thing which we saw in the smart cities, tracking our locations, our driving habits, our spending history, and even beyond ownership of your data, which possess great challenges for the acceptance of this technology. And okay, 1 second. Yeah, so all of these things that we're seeing are foundations being laid. Yeah, this is Revelation 13 and 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. It says that no man might buy or sell. Now, if you're in a system that tracks your every move, facial recognition, like we were seeing in this video here. I'll get it back. Also, some people will have these things because you got Internet of Bodies where they're it's like AI and human, technology being merged together. First, it was Internet of Things, then you got Internet of Bodies, which is the next step up, and also brain computer interface, which is kind of part of the Internet of Bodies. But all of these technologies with the chip, is Esau's way of setting up his NWO. And once you're in that, you won't be able to, where it says here, because of all but small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in the right hand or in the foreheads, that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark. So, as I was saying, this is just a foundation being put in place for the NWO. And, not everyone can see it, even though we bring it out. Something else that was mentioned, because you got this and it was an elder who brought it out in his video. Actually, this is the video, COP26 EB commentary, GMS for the Mosai 7 bar. I advise that you watch the video because it goes in a bit more on this COP26. It's just a little point in the video that I want to pull out. So let me play this.
With a growing global population creating ever-increasing demand on the planet.
It says a growing population. Now, we know from the scriptures, which I'll read in a bit, that, there's never more than enough human beings on the planet than the planet itself can hold.
And its finite resources. We have to reduce emissions urgently and take action to tackle the carbon already in the atmosphere, including from coal-fired power stations. Putting a value on carbon, thus making carbon capture solutions more economical, is therefore absolutely critical. Similarly, after billions of years of evolution, nature is our best teacher. In this regard, restoring natural capital, accelerating nature-based solutions, and leveraging the circular bioeconomy will be vital to our efforts. As we tackle this crisis, our efforts cannot be a series of independent initiatives running in parallel. The scale and scope of the threat we face call for a global systems-level solution based on radically transforming our current fossil fuel-based economy to one that is genuinely renewable and sustainable.
Yeah, so, like it started off saying, actually, I could just drop that back again, about the global population and
the growing global population creating ever-increasing demand on the planet's finite resources.
And we know that, like I was saying, the scriptures teaches that there's never more than enough people on the planet than the planet itself can hold. And it's the Most High that's in control of all of this. But this is, Esau's is reasoning for why, the population needs to be decreased. Now, this is like I said, watch the elder's video. He goes in a bit more on it, but it's just a point I wanted to make out, because all of this, decreasing the population of the people on the planet, the smart cities, all these other things that's being put in place is the foundation to the ultimate Revelation 13:16. And Esau setting up his NWO, New World Order. So this is second Esdras 5:46, and he said unto me, ask the womb of a woman, and say unto her, if thou bringest forth children, why doest thou it not together, but one after another? Pray her therefore to bring forth 10 children at once. And I said, she cannot, but must do it by distance of time. Then said he unto me, even so have I given the womb of the earth to those that be sown in it in their time. So we know that when it comes to people on the earth, there's never more than enough people on the planet than the planet can hold. So Esau speaking about, the growing global population, that's just part of his trying to feed into people's brains to make them think that, yeah, this is something that needs to be done. We need to look into the growing population and reduce it. But yeah, it's just something I want to touch on quickly, showing how Esau is laying the foundations into, the ultimately Revelation 13:16 situation that we read about in the scriptures. And, was eyes to see and ears to hear, take heed. Yeah, but hopefully someone finds this edifying. With that, I'm going to close out and give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Yahara Kakadash, Kwame Sha'Allah.